I don't know if it's ever a good time to play against teams, because that would mean we think that we know something or can predict something. You can see it either way. In the end, we will not lose too many minutes thinking about this, but we will give all our energy and focus on our squad and what we want to do right. We only have one game with Michael Carrick in charge to focus on and to analyze. Of course, we have some individual behavior and some group behavior that we think can be like, that we can see as patterns and want to prepare our team for it. And on the other side is always the best moment to play against Manchester United, because we are up for the big challenges, and we wanna be out there to play on the highest level, to prove ourselves and to prove a point. And we just come from a tough match, and there's the next one. This is where we are and where we love to be, and this was we get challenged on highest level again on Sunday.
Well, firstly, about the Chelsea, you got to be hugely impressed by the way they go about things. Obviously, watch quite a bit of them, and super intense. Well organised, really good movement across our back line, their front line, and very good at connecting with the midfield. With the back three building up and connecting into midfield and kind of narrow you up, give you problems through the middle, and with the wing backs. Really aggressive and playing really high, then they test your back line and stretch you across the pitch. So, they've got a really good balance going at the moment. Obviously, confidence is high, you can see that. They've had some really terrific results, so they're on a high, and well aware of the challenges that we face. But, as I said before, looking forward to it, because it is a big test and a big challenge. But we feel that we can go there and get a good result, no doubt. So that we have to think that, we have to believe that, and I certainly do.
Well, it looks as though this may be Michael Carrick's last game as caretaker manager of Manchester United. And that's because Ralf Rangnick, it looks like, I keep trying to pronounce that correct in the German way. Was that all right?
Close enough, Jules. We'll let you off.
It's looking as though he's agreed terms with Manchester United now. Tell us what you know about this, Rafa.
Well, where do you want to start?
Everywhere. Tell us everything.
The agreement is very close. I think it's mostly down to technicalities. He needs to have a work permit after Brexit. It's not that straightforward. It's going to take a bit of time, but there is no reason why this should fall through now. Hugely exciting, I think, for anyone connected with Man United, because he is a real interesting, innovative, very, very well-defined football thinker, if you will, who influenced a lot of the modern German coaches. Thomas Tuchel was a player under him, and Rangnick thought, this guy looks very bright. Go and scouts the opposition, and he comes back a coach eventually. Same with Julian Nagelsmann a few years later. They work together. There's a whole list of coaches and former players who become managers inspired by his very clear idea of coaching. And I'd be interested to hear Owen's view, because when you were in Germany, I think there were very few clubs that were doing the kind of stuff that he did.
Yeah.
German coaching at the time was still more like, go out, express yourself, be strong, play with confidence. And he was the opposite. He was about the system, about patterns, about space, about pressing at a time when no one did it regularly. And I'm just so excited to see him in the Premier League, because I think he deserves that kind of big job, that big occasion.
Was that evident to you?
Yeah, every job he touched, he turned, he improved significantly. I think the first one was Ulm. You remember Ulm, the tiny little team, they came out of nowhere. So you think about Hoffenheim and you think about the Red Bull projects, Leipzig and Salzburg. And he's an innovator, and he's a football man. And that's a beautiful thing. I think he's got great experience. He plays the right way. Our team, when Bayern played against them in the Bundesliga, we didn't have to do too much in terms of detail because we were better than the opposition most of the time. But you notice, I think he said they beat one of Jurgen Klopp's teams 4-1. And after Jurgen Klopp said he wanted his teams to play like that. I mean, how big a compliment do you want to make somebody?
Well, the fact that Jurgen Klopp has said today that it's not a good thing for Liverpool that he's going to be managing in the Premier League kind of says it all.
Well, it does. And, and Thomas Tuchel has said pretty much the same thing. you think about the way he's inspired. Look, I text one of my friends, Bastian Schweinsteiger, today. I said, the Germans are taking over the Premier League. You know, because you know, and it's amazing because, look, they did such a great job of educating these coaches, that kind of the next generation. And I think that's great. And I think that's what you see. The best coaches, you know, pretty much a lot of the best coaches all around the world are German at the moment. So credit to him for inspiring that generation. And maybe they've taken on his teachings and tweaked it a little bit to their style. But, I mean, to get a compliment from Tuchel and Klopp, I mean, you couldn't get any bigger ones.
Has he been close to taking a job in the Premier League before now? I know he's 60, 62.
Yeah, so he had an offer from Chelsea in January to come in as an interim manager, but he thought 4 months is not really enough. He got close to Everton before Carlo Ancelotti took over there. I think in the past, people have been a little bit afraid of him because he wasn't really clearly defined anymore as a coach. People saw him as the sporting director, as the club builder, and they thought, if I hire him, is he going to take over the whole club? And maybe, as you said, the club is run by non-football people. They think, oh, you know, I have a real football CEO here. Maybe the owners think, I'm no longer necessary. They can have him run the whole club. So I think that scared them a little bit.
Is that as much a concern as people make, that, you know, people use that, like, not control freaks, not fair, but that he wants kind of ultimate control? Is it that extreme?
I think in the past it was the case, because at Hoffenheim and Leipzig, he was given basically a blank sheet of paper and said, build us a club.
Yeah.
And then over 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you build a club from the lower leagues to the Champions League side. And when you do that and you have full control over who's the bus driver, who's the greenkeeper, who's the second, third assistant under 17 coach, then somebody tells you suddenly, oh, you have to buy this player and I'm going to buy you that left back and you want that's hard.
Yeah.
But I think now, you know, a few years later, having had the break, he's in a position where the passion for actually the pure coaching has come out again. And the prospect of working with this Man United team and giving them the kind of structure that they're really crying out for, I think supersedes any other concerns. I don't think he wants to come in and secretly think, you know, if I do well, then I can take over the whole club and then I can buy all the players. I don't think he thinks like that. I think he just wants to enjoy the coaching and get back to that coaching that's been missing a bit.
Do you think he works with what he has, or do you think he tries to force his methods onto a group of players?
That is the most interesting question, and I'm not sure he has the answer yet. I think he'll want to first see, what are these players like? Can I actually take them on the journey with me, or will they refuse to buy into me and I'll have to adjust? I think that's going to be the fascinating story. Again, coaches usually have a lot of power. They say, if you don't want to play my game, fine, I'll buy another person. At Leipzig, at Hoffenheim, he wouldn't buy players who were over 23 because he felt, I can't really play a pressing game with players who are 28, 29 and maybe on their third or fourth contract to a little bit more sophisticated. I want the hungry guys. I want the guys who are going to go and run and run and run. He's not going to be able to utilize that same vision at Man United. It's almost the opposite. But I think he's clever enough and has enough of a man management touch to adjust the ideas and to get people on board, even if he has to compromise a little bit.
I think that is the really interesting side, because when you look at the Manchester United squad on paper, you would assume that they could go on to achieve something this season. There's still a long way to go in this campaign, but the current form guide is not looking good. Lost 5 of their last 7 Premier League games, and you can see the problems on the pitch. I mean, look at that for stats, Rafa.
Yeah.
That says it all. They are worse than Newcastle, who haven't won a game yet this season. I think one of the things that I guess people have had doubts in Ralf Rangnick before is that he's not really won anything. So people are saying, well, where are the trophies to kind of back up all of this brilliant philosophy and strategy that we speak of so highly? So what would you say to those people?
I think it's slightly the wrong way to look at it, because when you are tasked with taking a third division side into the Bundesliga, and you do that with back-to-back promotions, and you do it again with another team, and make them into a Champions League team in the space of 5 years of the club existing, then you're winning. You might not winning a trophy, but you happen to do your job and you're doing it better than a lot of other coaches who perhaps, by virtue of being in a job with a team, automatically have a better chance of winning. I mean, I often say, maybe it's a little bit unfair, but Roberto Di Matteo, Champions League winner, is he a better coach than Ralf Rangnick or Pochettino? Probably not, because we've seen their body of work over a number of years. And coaching, I think, ultimately has to be measured not so much in trophies, but in what are my resources and how much I'm getting out? If I'm constantly getting out more out of my resources than you'd expect, or at least get like close to the maximum all the time, I think I'm a better coach, even if that translates into keeping a team up that should be going down, or keeping a team and getting a team into Europa League that should be a relegation battling team, than somebody who is just in a position where there's a 50-50 chance almost of winning. And again, Owen, I come to you, Bayern Munich coach at your time, almost a coin flip if you win the championship or not, by virtue of being there. And we've seen in recent years, coaches have been at Bayern who weren't very good, not to name any names, maybe I should, Niko Kovac.
He was pretty good.
He was a double winner.
Yeah.
Because he's a Bayern Munich coach.
Look, Ralf Rangnick took Schalke to a Champions League semi-final, and that wasn't a team that should have been in a Champions League semi-final. I can't think of one job that he's done where he hasn't overachieved, not one. So I'm with Ralf, you know, the whole trophy thing. I'm not too worried about that, you know, because I think if he's never had a group of players like this is almost like, you know, for his body of work over all the years he's been in football, this is like probably a gift to him. And now he'll probably want to see himself. I've normally worked with young guys and hungry guys. Now I get pretty much a finished product of it. Let's see if we can go on and win something big. He's probably not 100% sure either. But I tell you what, it's an exciting opportunity to take that group with his experience and say, now let's see what we can achieve. I think the sky's the limit. I really do. But in Germany, Fingerspitzengefühl means that, like the finger feeling. You know, he's going to have to get in there and see when can I push and when do I got to back off and when do I got to bring the older guys on board, and, you know, and Varane and Ronaldo's and get their opinion, because I think it's going to be delicate the first few weeks.
From what you guys are saying here, James, it sounds to me that if he does well, this could actually mean he lasts longer than just until the end of the season. What do you think?
Well, certainly, it all depends. His management, it all depends on results. You know, like I say, it'd be interesting to see, no disrespect to the players he's worked with in Germany, but like Owen said, he's going into the quality of the squad he's going into. It'd be interesting to see how he does it, how his coaching methods work with the players, like say, who are already the finished article, not boys he's sort of bringing through. So if he goes in and does well, you know, why wouldn't they give it to him?
Okay.
The one thing is, Jules, the fixtures are very kind to them, you know, for the next couple of months. So you could see United going on a really big run. And then I think, obviously, his position is, you know, significantly improved.
Apart from this game at the weekend.
Yeah, forget the Chelsea one. They're not going to win that.
Let's talk about Chelsea then. Top of the league. I mean, they're doing so well, James, at the moment. It doesn't look like anyone can stop them. They've only lost once this season in the league, and that was to Manchester City. When you look at their numbers and what they're achieving so far compared to other title-winning seasons, it's basically the best there's ever been, bar the amount of goals conceded, where they've only once conceded less at this stage of a campaign. But when you look at the amount of goals scored this time round, it's considerably more. Are they still your favourites to go on and win it?
They are. They look unstoppable to me at the minute. Both ends of the pitch, solid defensively and you know, creating numerous chances every game and scoring lots of goals. So for me at the minute, obviously there's so much quality, you know, Manchester City, Liverpool, but at the minute Chelsea look the full package, and I really struggle to see a team that's gonna knock them off the top of the table at the moment. Yeah,
Lukaku was back on the bench for Chelsea in the Champions League against Juventus. Do you expect him to start this game?
Well, I think the manager and his philosophy is more important than the individual players, and that's basically been proven. The fact that he's done all that, conceded 4 goals in 12 games. I mean, that's
only 1 from open play is incredible.
That's crazy. So obviously, it doesn't really matter who's kind of popping in. Mendy obviously always plays. You know, I think Rudiger pretty much always plays. But there's so many guys that can dip in and out. You know, Reece James has been unbelievable in that right wing-back position, but they've done it without Pulisic, without Lukaku. Mason Mount's missed time. Ziyech has barely played. So to think that anytime he slots anybody in, it doesn't matter. They all perform. And that's a sign of a really great coach. So I think they're the favourites, but I still think Man City are the best watch. But I think they're the team that probably plays the best together. And essentially, that's all football is about.
And just another quick one on the squad. Chilwell picked up what looks like quite a bad injury. He's going to be out for a few weeks, we're hearing. Does Alonso just slip straight back into that spot, and that just shows the squad depth that Thomas Tuchel has?
Yeah, and it also shows how much Thomas Tuchel had an impact, because Marcos Alonso is one of those guys who looked like they're completely sort of gone past it under Lampard. Like no longer good enough even to play in the Premier League. And Tuchel has resurrected him and others. I'm thinking of Barkley, and there's so many players, Loftus-Cheek. There's so much going on when it comes to keeping everybody happy, but still having a very tactical, cohesive system. And I think that is the magic of this Tuchel reign. I didn't think that he would be so defensively solid, because from what we saw at PSG and at Dortmund, they were exciting, they were entertaining, but they were also quite open at times. This Chelsea team are just so solid. It's just incredible.
Yeah. All right. Well, from everything you guys have said, I think we should get a prediction from you two for now. We're going to save James's for the end of the show. What do you think is going to happen? Because you've talked up what could happen with Manchester United, but of course Ralf Rangnick isn't quite there yet. So what do you think for this game?
I think Chelsea too strong, 2-0.
Yeah, I think Chelsea win, but I think 2-1. I think Chelsea win 2-1.